What's up everybody, you are watching the Coding Shotgun. And today this is going to be our second tutorial in the Python tutorial series, and today we're going to look at for loops and if statements. So let's talk about for loops. So for loops are basically loops which run commands until a certain condition is met. And you might have learned this in other languages, but in Python for loops are very simple. So let's start by taking a variable x is equal to 10. By the way, if you haven't watched my previous tutorial, it talks about variables and printing commands. So I recommend you watching that first and then learning for loops and if statements. So we have a variable x equals to 10. Now in other languages, Java, C, C++ or other languages, you have to define a variable and then make it equal to something and then give it a condition that it should be lesser than equal to 10 and it should keep looping until that. But in Python it is fairly easy. So all you need to write is for I. In range and then open bracket and close bracket, and inside you write the range. So suppose 1 to 12. So this is my range. So what this statement does alone is it defines a variable I and it is equal to 0 by default, and it keeps on adding it until 12. So in Python for loops are very easy. They want you to focus more on the process rather than the syntax. So this is what Python does. And so usually what you do to open a for loop will be a curly bracket, but in this case we don't use curly brackets. In Python we use something called a colon. So after you put a colon after your for statements and press enter, it automatically leaves out 5 spaces, and whatever is under these 5 spaces is part of the for loop. So for example, right now let's just try printing x. So we just write print x, and obviously make sure to run Python on Sublime Text. Your build system says Python here, and you can build by pressing the keys Control and B at the same time. So Control B, and you can see here it prints 10 times. If I scroll up, you can see it has printed 10 times. Now you might have heard about the multiplication table. That we use that to learn maths basically when we're in lower grades. So I'm gonna try to print out the multiplication table of 10, right? So first we need to write x. So how does a multiplication table look? For example, if you take, I'm just giving you an example here. It looks, suppose I'm taking a multiplication table of 1, so it becomes 1 into 2 is equal to 2, right? So that's how it looks. Yeah, that's how a multiplication table looks. Now how do we make that in Python? But it's very simple. So we first write x, because we're gonna write it in format 10 into something is equal to something, right? So we have x here, and then we put a comma, and then we have open quotation marks, close quotation marks, and inside of this we put a big x sign. And we have a comma I, because that you get it, right? Because I keeps on incrementing, and that's what we want here. So I, and then we have the equal to sign. So the equal to sign, and then we have here x into I, right? So that's what it is. And now we will try print this, and let's see if it works. And as you can see, it works. So it's 10, 20, 30, 40 in the same format we wanted, right? So this was basically the use of for loops. Now let's move on to if statements. So what are if statements? If statements are usually self-explanatory. So when I say if, so you have to ask the code a question. If this is true, then I want to print that. If it's not, then I want to print something else. So these are basically if statements, right? So how do you write an if statement? For example, you have a variable x that is a boolean variable and it's equal to true, right? Now you want to check if it's true or false and print something at the same time. So like many of you have done this in Java and all, but in Python it is easier, I guess. If x is equal to true, then always remember to put a colon and not an open bracket. Colon, and in whatever is inside of this these five spaces will be inside of your if statement, right? So if x is equal to true, then we want to print pass. Okay, this is just an example. You can write anything here, anything you want in the quotation marks. Now how do I give an else statement, right? So wait, so you go back to the line of the if where you started the if, go back to the same indent, and you're gonna write your else, and you're basically gonna put a colon after that, and whatever is inside of this colon is going to be our else statement, right? So let's go. Otherwise we want to print, I'm just gonna print random stuff. Fail maybe. It's just gonna be random stuff. So in our case x is true, right? So it's gonna obviously print pass. So let's see if it actually does print pass. And then I'm gonna explain to you some of the errors that might occur during the program. So control B, and you can see it says pass here. So our program is done. But what errors you can have in this program is basically you can put one equal to sign, and if I do anything with that, it says x is equal to it gives you an error. So we need 2 equals to. This is the syntax how it works, and now you can see it prints pass again. So this is how it works, guys, and make sure your indentation is correct. If I move this here and then test it out, it comes nothing happens, and it says expected an indent block, right? So a block is basically 5 spaces, so you can just press tab and it goes to the block. Now if I save it and run it, it runs. So this is your basic if statement. Now let's do a example program that you can be used in the day-to-day life. Okay, so we have a variable age, right? So age, that is equal to, or wait, we just have a variable marks that is equal to, for example, in this case 60, right? Now we have an if statement. We have to check whether a student has passed or failed based on their marks, and right now the marks are 60, right? So we have to write if marks are greater than or equal to 60. So what this statement is doing is it's checking that if the marks are greater than 60 or if they're equal to 60, then we want to perform a specific action, and that's what we're going to do here. So colon and then your 5 indent block, 5 block, whatever, so that you can put it inside of the if statement. Now we want to print, like last time, we want to print pass, right? And now I'm just gonna copy this for faster coding maybe. And guys, learn to copy and paste, not from other websites but within your code, so that you can do it faster and focus more on the process rather than the typing. And now this is else, and we have that, and then we just copy paste this and we just edit this pass to a fail. Yeah, that's what we have to do. And this should work right now. Now it should print pass because our marks are equal to 60, and this condition says if they're greater than or equal to 60. Well, they are equal to 60, so it should print pass. So I save it and I run it. It says pass. Now if I change my marks to say 40 and I do that, so now it should print I failed. So, and it prints fail. So this was a basic program that you can use in your day-to-day life, and this program is being used right now. So this was a fairly non-complex Python program. So these were if statement, guys, and in the next video I'm going to talk about operators and keywords in Python that you need to use in the if statements, and we're going to learn how to take user input, right? So thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe and like this video, obviously.